It's the CalebDMTG
Boop, boom. All right. The red cards. Do we have any red fans in the chat? Who's into this? Who's into this color? Maybe it'll be a good burn spell. Maybe it'll be a good dragon. Happy Madison's on board. Juggies is on board. All right. I am a sucker for a good dragon. All will be one. 3 red for an enchantment. Whenever you put one or more counters on a permanent or player, all will be one deals that much damage to target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker they control. So any target, basically. Just not your own shit, I guess. Oh shit, what up? I think that the reason it says opponent stuff is not to prevent comboing, but to make sure that if they have a Leyline of Sanctity, you don't have to like hit yourself with it. Stuff like that. Hey Truskeys, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 74 months there. Will I be the uwu to your BRG? Oh my Truskeys. Whew, got a little warmer in here, which is fitting because we're on the red cards. So all will be one. In terms of constructed, you could hypothetically brew some F&M deck that would kill somebody with this. And I'm sure you could do something cool with it in EDH. But I think what we're mostly looking at, oh god, but it's a mythic. It's just not going to show up that much in limited. I think this would have been kind of an interesting one to have be regular rare. Because I think it's actually sweet and limited. In a proliferate format, you only need to trigger proliferate like twice before this is starting to seem good, huh? Some creatures with oil counters or whatever. Repeated removal. It is slow. You are spending 5 mana on it, which is why I think it would be fine as a rare. I don't think it would be like broken or anything, but I think it'd be a fun build around. All your oil duders empty FTKs? Sort of. Sort of. It's not really a pinger, right? Something that's gaining oil. Or it's not really an FTK, it's a pinger. It's a little bit different. You want to combo with Dark Taps? Just till 20? 5 mana. If only there's some way we can kill someone with the Dark Depths. Yeah, we're not there yet, Real Milkman. Getting ahead of the curve. Some things enter with more than one oil counter. Yeah, I suppose that's true. You could play the 4 mana blue artifact that comes to play with 4. Most of them are like 1 or 2 though. I think most of them are pretty piddly. I think it'd be hard. I think it'd be difficult for this card to be too broken. But maybe you're right. Maybe in sealed, if it was regular rare, it'd be showing up a little too often. In sealed, you might just have more time. Have more time to play it, and then play your things that have more than 4 oil counters when they come into play, and then proliferate stuff on top of all that. I'm just a little disappointed because it seems really fun to build around. It's not going to happen very much at Mythic. But I see your point. You're probably right. It's probably even a little bit better than I'm thinking. Fun with Planeswalkers? Yeah. Do y'all think this could see constructed play? Five mana is a lot of mana, isn't it? I think if it was 3 in a red, I think if it was Pandemonium mana, it would start to be interesting. I think 3 red's going to keep it out of anything. You think 5 mana is easy? Is it? In standard? You like it with Quest for the Pure Flame. What's that fucking card? Super interesting card. Quest for the Pure Flame is from Zendikar, so not for standard. Only a consideration for modern, I guess. I mean, that's quite a lot for modern. Quite a shitload. Whenever a source you control deals damage to an opponent, you may put a quest counter on it. Remove 4 quest counters. Sack it. If any source you control would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals double that damage. So you're saying that you quest for the Pure Flame, you get all the will be 1 down, and then it just repeats. Goes infinite. That's kind of a lot, friends. That's kind of a lot for modern. I think we're looking at a tier 4 homebrew type situation. I'm sure Aspiring Spike will fucking 5-0 a league with it or whatever. And then like every third deck will be that deck for like a day or two, and it'll never be seen again. But I think that's the ceiling for this card. A commander situation, sure, yeah, it could be a really sweet commander card. Not judging that. I think there's a lot of fun things you could be doing with commander. You think it'll be standard playable? Okay. I think there might be enough. I think there might be enough. Again, my only issue with it is that 5 mana is a shitload of mana. But multiple stack, right? Because it's each individual card doing it. There are a lot of things, planeswalkers and such, playing well with it. Seems insane in the limited format. Yeah, no, I think it's good in the limited format. We discussed that earlier, Tio. I was like bemoaning how it wasn't a regular rare, so I couldn't play with it as often. And Chad was convincing me that it would be too good at regular rare. Stysiak is comparing it to Fiery Emancipation. Yeah, I could kind of see that. Just being a little clunky, costing a bit. Fiery was a little clunkier, costing 6 mana. They're both certainly powerful effects. Yeah, Fiery was a little clunkier, so this is like closer to a castable range, a playable range. Being at 5 instead of 6 mana is a pretty big difference. Fiery needed a little bit less. It was a little bit less specific. Just like any source dealing damage, so just attacking with creatures was nutty with Fiery Emancipation. Might as well bring it on screen if we're talking about it. Weather monitor's a 4K monitor. That's why it's all fucking blown up to shit and just dragging it over him. I kind of get the comparison, just because there's like some clunk, and it doesn't really do anything on its own. It needs like your other stuff to be working and stuff. That said, I have cast Fiery Emancipation in Limited and in Cube, and fucked people up with it. It's certainly a powerful card. The cool thing about All Will Be One, in comparison to Fiery, is that it does act as removal, right? Like with Fiery, if you need to kill something with it, you're still spending a card, killing their creature, or your creature is still running into their creature, what have you. All One can just start killing stuff, which makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. That on top of costing 5. You think All Will Be One is less powerful? Less powerful, but like more versatile, right? By literally just being free removal. Not costing anything itself. Like Fiery amplifies your removal, right? It amplifies your cards. This one is giving you an additional effect on top of what those other cards are doing. Which I think is better. It's a better thing to be doing. It's a more competitive thing to be doing. being able to get value. Anyway, we can move on now. I've probably said my piece about all LB1. Again, I don't think it's going to be a standard card. I don't think it's going to be a constructed card. I would love to be pleasantly surprised. I think it's closer to constructed than similar looking cards. And I do think it's going to be a fun one to play in limited. A lot of stuff works with it in this limited format. Including, as people pointed out, literally just stuff entering play with oil counters. Or getting oil counters or what have you. Even before you start proliferating. Alright, Awaken the Sleeper. 3 and a red sorcery. You can control a target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature against haste. If it's equipped, you may destroy all equipment attached to that creature. Interesting. Yeah, 4 mana for a Threaten. I mean, we've seen it before. I could see sideboarding this. Just treat it like a sideboard card. It's like a little bit better if your opponent's playing equipment. There are equipment creatures, right? Those for Mirrodin. Things spitting out rebels and whatever. Blue's got one at rare. White's got a few. And then I talked a little bit about how red threatens pair well with stack effects. It is a clunky threaten, of course. Axiom Engraver, 1 in a red, 1/3. And his battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter from it. Discard a card, draw a card. We rummaging around. Yeah, once again, people keep talking about how like aggressive this format is, but every single color has a 2 mana 1/3 at common. I think you're gonna have some slower games too. Don't love this ability, but I guess it's not the stone worst. At least it doesn't cost mana, Cycling a couple lands or whatever in the mid game, not terrible. And then proliferating once or twice makes a big difference. Similar to the Scry one, The Scry one I think is also like a little on the weak side with the number of oil counters that it starts with, but you proliferate a little bit, it starts to look pretty solid. Enough value. Doesn't require 3 poison counters to activate. Yeah, that's always nice. Barbed Batterfist. She kind of looks like she's gonna flick. You know what I mean? Like a Batterfist you would imagine to be a fist. But this is like... You know what you see what I mean? Like, it's not really a fist, is it? Like, it's like the thumb is held there. There's that gap. That's not how you... You shouldn't punch people like that. It's not good for your hand. Don't do that. Anyway, 1 in a red. They got some nerds painting these cards. And on that basis alone, F tier card. Yeah. For Mirrodin! When it enters the battlefield, get a 2/2 red rebel creature token. This is the first one of these that's costed 2. I think it's +1/-1. Ooh. And it equips for 1. Those are some Skull Clamp stats. And that card got fucking banned. Yeah, 2 mana for a 3/1's not that impressive, but if you're sticking this on like a flyer or something, it's pretty cheap to move this around. Like a 2 mana 3/1's gonna trade super easy, but if that's a concern, you just fucking throw this on your flyer, let that get into damage. Now you've got a 2/2 body sticking around. Yeah, I think this card's solid. As good as Skull Clamp? Well, I didn't say that. Skull Clamp did only cost 1 mana, and this one costs double that, right? And that's just the difference between a banned card and a common. You want to have 1 in your deck, but no more? I think you can play more. Because again, you can just like play it as a regular creature and trade off. Half as good as Skull Clamp, exactly. This has red mana in the color. Yeah, I mean, You pretty much only want to play red anyway, right? Let's be real here. Bladegraft Aspirant, 2 and a red for a 2/3. Phyrexian Warrior Menace. Don't hate that, don't hate that. Equipment spells cost 1 less to cast. Ooh, we can play some 1 mana 3/1s. Alright, with a Bladegraft in play, now we've got ourselves a Skull Clamp. Activated abilities of equipment you control that target Bladegraft Aspirant cost 1 less to activate. Well, that's cute. Oh, a cute little aggro critter. Nice little common. I like this card. This feels like the sort of card that they would have made rare a while back, and it would have been like the most disappointing rare to open ever. But here as a common, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's appropriate. I look forward to playing with this card sometimes. It'll be good in that equipment deck. That's decent, right? Blazing Crescendo, 1 and a red, instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. That's a fun little value pump spell, huh? It's rare that red gets a pump spell that gets value like that. Usually, the way that red gets value out of its pump spells is by giving the creature first strike, so your creature lives. Most one gets to actually draw a card. It's neat. I just think it's neat. I don't know how good it is, but I do like drawing me some cards. Seems very Boros, huh? Boros has white cards have that first strike already built in. Move the 1/1 double striker. Bladegraft also plays well in Boros, huh? A lot of equipment in white. Cacophophony Scamp, 1 and a red, 1 red here. Creature Phyrexian Goblin Warrior for a 1/1. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. Oh, a pretty good goblin already. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Sure. Yeah, not bad sack fodder, huh? Not terrible sack fodder. That's what you're looking to do. Not going to fit every deck. Does this have constructed applications? You have to hit to sack for the proliferate. A little iffy. Equip and throw it. Yeah. Yeah, you can juice its power up a little bit. Put the Batter Fist on it. Fucking deal them 2. It's kind of cool. Sacrifice Hammer deck. Alright, we're getting a little deep. We're getting a little deep. Let's move on. You can't put the fist on it? Why not? Why would that not work? It'll die. But that's what we're talking about, right? With the damage. You could certainly put it on it. And you do get to shock something. Oh, we're talking about the damage, right? You didn't know the power would affect it? You didn't know the power would affect it, but you did realize that the toughness would affect it for it to die, right? That's... you get that that's your brain just like stopped right there and like half of the +1/-1. You're fine, Jimmy, you're fine. I just think it's cute, that's all. I'm just kind of being a dick here. You think this goblin's great? I don't know if I would go that far. There is some text, but sometimes they have text. That's still not good enough. You want to do silly things with this dragon? Yeah, this dragon can cruel ultimatum people, right? Capricious Hellraiser, 3 red, red, red. I think Aspiring Spike was fucking just like rock hard over this thing too. Phyrexian Dragon, 4/4, costs 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard, choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them, and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So, if you play, so there's a couple of things going on. If it costs 3 less to cast, then 3 mana for a 4/4 that just like gets a random spell is like not crazy, right? Not a terrible rate. Just get some fucking burn spell back. Not like super incredible, not like the best payoff ever. For getting something back at random. That said, if you play it for 6 mana and only have 3 cards in your graveyard, then you have a lot of control. You have all of the control there. Discard 9 cards, including Cruel Ultimatum in turns 1 and 2. I mean, you can go turn 1 fetch, Burning Inquiry. That's like already 4 cards in the bin, right? You can certainly get to 9 cards in the bin by turn 3 if you really wanted to. Just a little high variance is the only issue with that. If you have 2 cards in the yard, it tries to fulfill as much of it as it can. If you only have 1 or 2 cards in the yard, it's going to exile them, and you're going to get to cast it. A flavor of creativity. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how great that is, because their creativity is always going to be 0 if you flash it back. Phyrexia will be 1s. Yeah, that kind of garbage. You're not trying to break this. You think by turn 5 you can have fun with it? I'll just play it as a value card. Yeah, I don't think that's quite good enough for modern. If we're talking modern, if we're talking about shenanigans. Fable is still in standard with this, yeah. Good with clones. So you flash back a clone and it clones your Hellraiser. That's kind of interesting. You like persist with this? Persist could be interesting. Kind of similar to the clone thing. Turn 2 Pioneer discussions with the 1-drop. No, I don't know what you're talking about, Dr. Doom. Yeah, I think Hellraiser is an interesting card. It'll probably end up doing nothing, if I'm gonna be realistic. But my god, wouldn't it be sweet if it did everything? You're talking about the Hammer Time Goblin? Sure, but like, how is that turn 2ing someone in Pioneer or whatever? Scamp can kill with Hammer on turn 2. All of you equip the hammer, and then you sacrifice it, and so you're not sacrificing it to like actually proliferate it, you're just sacrificing it to sacrifice for the damage. Get a turn 2 kill. I guess. I don't know how much different killing someone versus tending them and having a 10-10 in play is in Pioneer. Maybe it's different enough. Yeah. I think the amount that it's better than just like equipping any other old creature with potentially more upside is perhaps being overestimated by people. Not that like it would never be good to kill someone with hammer on turn 2, but gets around lay down the arms. Okay. Dead opponents are usually better than living ones? Yeah. It's just, is it like enough better to be worth playing hammer, right? That's the skeptical part. Is it enough better than some other card that like actually has utility? Actually has value? Maybe. I certainly haven't played much hammer in Pioneer. The meme of it all. Does Pioneer Hammer have to play that fucking 4-mana Planeswalker to have more free equips? It does kind of sound like a meme, doesn't it?
Oh,
I guess that's how Hammer Time originally started, though. I was playing it back then. When even the modern version was playing Boros. For extra free equips and shit. The red sorcery.
Oh shit, what up?
Oh shit, what up? Hey, Dr. J Hero, thanks for gifting 5 subs. Congratulations to Missing Texture, Ribioli, Cold Potato, Michael,
Oh shit.
McKelly Cash, and Pouty EQ. Congrats, folks. And thanks, Dr. J Hero.
Oh shit, what up?
Anyway. Chimney Rabble, 3 in a red and 3/3. Creature Phyrexian Goblin Warrior. Haste. When enters the battlefield, you get a 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature token. That's not terrible, huh? 4 power and toughness for 4 mana. 3 of it has haste. Not terrible at all. I swear, a lot of these cards have Phyrexian on them for, like, not much reason. I don't know how much Phyrexian tribal is there. There is, or what have you. Where it's like literally every creature just says Phyrexian on it. Phyrexian the set. Is this for flavor? It's kind of nice when cards mean things too. The whole point is Phyrexian the set, yeah. I don't know. Not every creature in Mirrodin was a literal artifact. And this one, is it like literally just all Phyrexians or Rebels? No Phyrexian tribal. Maro said they'd have to cost it as though it said any creature. Yeah, which kind of like defeats the purpose of having tribal, right? It's literally every creature. You can kind of just like assume it for flavor purposes instead of having this like giant text thing. I don't know. Whatevs. Suppose it doesn't. No skin off my back, huh? Kind of whatever. Churning Reservoir. Red artifact. Beginning of your upkeep. Put an oil counter on another target non-token artifact or creature you control. Right, Jackaldemon. It just feels like more trash that like gets in the way of like a word that could actually matter. Like Goblin Warrior. Those words could mean things. There are cards that literally care about those things. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on another target non-token artifact or creature you control. 2 in a red, or just 2, tap. 2 in a tap, create a 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin token. Activate only if an oil counter was removed from a permanent you controlled this turn, or a permanent with an oil counter was put into a graveyard this turn. This is the stage of the stream where my brain starts to get muddied from reading all these cards. Might have to reread this one. Too much churn on the evening. Maybe this will jostle some things. So you put an oil counter on another target non-token artifact. Can't go on the oil counter cannot go on a token. There's got to be another target non-token artifact, and then you can put an oil counter on something with this, if you have one of those. Hey, Oldman Jables, thanks for 55 months. Very important that every card be hosted by Plague Engineer for flavor. Yeah, that was weird, huh, when they did that? I won a game in a Constructed NRG event due to that errata, because I just got to Plague Engineer a poor infected player who got to like literally find out mid-tournament the Plague Engineer now hosed their entire deck. And they took it very well. They took it much better than I would have. I would have fucking, I don't know, my face would have gotten a little red if I had found that out mid-tournament, that I was just dying because of like the most bogus reverse errata ever. Anyway, Churning Reservoir. So sometimes you can put an oil counter on something, and then 2 tap, you get a 1/1 creature token, activate only if you've put Oh no, the oil has to be removed from a permanent. Or a permanent with an oil is put into a graveyard. This is too many words. I don't care if this card's good, it sucks. Dragonwing Glider, 3 red artifact equipment for Mirrodin. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token, then attach it to it. Nice. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and haste. Double nice. So this is like borderline a dragon, huh? Dragonwing Glider. 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer. And then you get that residue equipment. 5 mana is a lot. That's a hefty equip cost. Yeah, clearly a limited bomb, huh? 4/4 flying haste for 5. Which would be like not bombish if you didn't get the to re-equip if they ever kill your creature. But I think it goes into the realm of bomb at that point. A little bit better than a 4/4 haste flyer. A little better, huh? Exuberant Fuseling, 1 red for a 0/1 trample. Gets +1/+0 for each oil counter on it. When it enters the battlefield, and whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on it. So it's base 1/1. And then when another artifact or creature dies, it gets +1/+0. That's kind of sweet, actually. I'm into it. I'm into the fuses. The oiliest boy, yeah. Yeah. Feels like the haste might be wasted on Dragonwing Glider? What are you talking about? Oh, if you equip? Yeah, but then you're still jumping your card. +2/+2 and flying is worth 5 mana, right? It wouldn't be worth 5 mana if this was just an equipment. If it was literally just 5 mana for an equipment that was equip 5, that'd be super not worth it. But this is, you've already played a dragon and smacked them with your dragon, and they had to use a removal spell on your dragon, and then you spend 5 mana and one of your other shitters is now a dragon. You see where this is going? Like, once you're in this spot, it doesn't really matter that the haste is not relevant. They are dying. That's what makes it a bomb. Things to reduce the cost of equipment. We do. We've got that common. I think that's the most important one. You could play this at 3 and then play the rare one at 4, but it's not necessary. Like it's good enough, you know, even if you can't reduce the equip cost or whatever. Forge Hammer Centurion, 2 and a red for a 3/2. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on it. Black-red sacrifice, looking like a thing. Whenever it attacks you, remove 2 oil counters. When you do, target creature can't block this turn. Okay. So this card's not like great or anything, but it's not terrible. It'd be very easy to underestimate that ability until it kills you, huh? Meh. Yeah, meh overall for sure. Cool looking hammer though. Really sweet looking hammer. With that smoke coming out of it. Free from Flesh. 1 red instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Put 2 oil counters on it. Okay. Oil them up! Not oily enough! I do like the oil focus of this set. Furnace Punisher, 2 and a red for a 3/3. Menace. Hell yeah. Already D-stats. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Furnace Punisher deals 2 damage to that player unless they control 2 or more basic lands. Huh. So that's just like stone irrelevant for limited, right? A little awkward for an uncommon. Is this card good in standard? What do people's standard mana bases look like? 3 mana, 3/3 Menace is already good. This is like wasted text, I think. Like you might as well just not have that. Just have it be a simpler card. sideboard for constructed. Standard's got a lot of basics. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't think the stats are good enough for older formats. Standard is all non-basics. I'm getting conflicting reports. Do I need to like personally look up standard mana bases? I have to research this so I can properly evaluate Furnace Punisher. Standard doesn't even have land, so this is never going to trigger. Standard decks are only running like 4 to 12 basics. Okay. Well, maybe this will show up in Standard then. And then I'll look like a fool with an egg on my face about the comment being the text being worthless. Furnace Strider, 4 and a red, 4/5, Phyrexian Beast.
Oh shit, what up?
Hey Kevin, thanks for 33 months there. You don't think you'll ever play it? This thing? 3 mana for a 3/3 that domes your opponent for 2 each turn. It's hard to block. Your 3-drop hitting for 5 a turn is pretty real, I think. 2 damage of it is haste too. If it's hitting most people, then I think it's kind of reasonable. A for your consideration type card. It also domes you in your mono red deck. Are you playing that in your like pile of non-basic stack? Scrap your sulfuric vortexes. Also hits you. No longer good. All right, Furnace Strider. Let's move along now. 4 and a red for a 4/5 creature, Phyrexian Beast. And this battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter. Target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Oh, this is sweet. So you can have it be a 5 mana 4/5 haste if you want. I do want to. I do want, and then it hastes your next play. Oh, it's yeah. I think it's sweet. Lethal Demolition, red sorcery, start target artifact. If you controlled that artifact, you can create 3 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin creature tokens. Koldotha red has returned. Now you can play 8 of the Koldotha card. You want to play it in Cleansing Wildfire decks with indestructible lands. If you point this at a Darksteel Citadel, the Darksteel Citadel doesn't die and you still get 3 1/1s. How fucking broken is that? You just need to cast this post Darksteel Citadel. That actually sounds obnoxious. Yeah, Koldotha Rebirth wasn't very good when you had Mox Opal. You no longer have Mox Opal. I don't think this is good. I don't think it's gonna get there, friends. They do have the bridges in Modern, but you're not turn 1ing this then, right? It's gonna be a turn 2 play. If you had Opal around, you could like turn 1 point this at a bridge. You do have 8 of them, yes. I just don't see it, I'm sorry. I wish I could see it. I wish I could believe. I wish I had any hope or joy in my soul, but I don't. I super don't. It seems super bad. How about Limited? This is a good Limited card. 1 mana, destroy an artifact. Or you can blow up your own artifact to make 3 1/1s. Seems versatile enough, huh? If you have some random artifacts around that you don't mind dying. You think it's a Shatter main deck format? Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. The fact that it's got a fail rate is certainly relevant too. Hazardous Blast, 3 and a red, sorcery. Deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Creatures your opponents control can't block this turn. This card's probably better than it looks. This Hazardous Blast card. You can't play too many of them in your deck. But the right deck that was like very aggressive, could probably get away with playing a few. The 1 damage to each creature your opponents control matters when your opponent's like playing a bunch of mites and stuff. You like actually get a little bit of value in while you're also getting in damage. But mostly you're alpha striking. Yeah, Cosmotronic Wave, exactly. And that card was always like a little bit better than it looked on paper. You could kill people. Hexgold Halberd, 1 in a red artifact. Equipment from Mirrodin! Which means you get a 2/2 that it equips to. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature has first strike and trample. And then equip 2 in a red. Those are some fine abilities, huh? Do y'all think this one's better, or the white one that only gives +2/+0 and shits out 1/1s? You think this one's better, or that one's better? Those are the two uncommon ones. They both cost the same, huh? 2 to play, 3 to equip. You think it's solid? Yeah, a little clunky, but solid, huh? Not a bomb. Nice bear. Yeah, just by itself, it attacks pretty well. 2 mana, 2x first strike. Already reasonable base stats. You want the 2/2 to die so you can put it on a 6/6. Get a first strike trampler. Get some big chonker. Or maybe something with like more front loaded power, huh? Like a 4/1. The one that shits 1/1s doesn't come with a body attached. Oh yeah, you might be right about that. You might literally just do the +2/+0 thing. It might not have for Mirrodin. Let's double check. Oh, that's the common one. Yeah, you're right, it doesn't come with a body. That makes the red one look a little bit better, huh? The fact that you have to play this and then equip it before it can actually be a body. Before it can actually start doing things. Yeah, the body makes isn't even attacking. The Anthem one does come with the body. That's not what I'm talking about here, though. I was comparing this one to the white, uncommon 2 mana, 3 to equip. It seems like you're supposed to compare those two, right? Obviously, the Anthem one is nutty. We talked about that one already. Hexgold Slash, red, instant. Deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature has Toxic, it deals 4 damage to it instead. Oh, I'm gonna fuck up a Mite so bad. I'm gonna fuck the shit out of that 1/1 Mite. Slash it up! No, this card's fine. Shocks are always fine. Not being able to go face is a bummer, but, you know, whatever. Sometimes it'll be more than a shock. Not a constructed card. Koth, Fire of Resistance. We get a new Koth! 2 red. Starts with 4 loyalty. It doesn't have a hammer. It doesn't have a hammer this time. Not a hammer time, Koth. +2. Search your library for a basic mountain, reveal it, put it in your hand. Yeah, I don't know about all that. It's not bad. It's not bad to put a mountain in your hand, but... Man, the other Koth fucking murdered people. This one's like, I find a mountain. Whee! Now I have a mountain. The other Koth was like, you're fucking dead. This one's like, fucking, I don't know, dancing on a mountaintop, singing nursery rhymes. -3, Koth of Fire Resistance deals damage to target creature, just creatures, equal to the number of mountains you control. Oh man. So you can uptick and find another mountain, and that way, the turn after you play this, you can downtick to deal 5 damage to something. That's pretty good. And the -7 is you get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. Oh, that's a sexy emblem. I like that part about it. Yeah, so Koth of the Hammer fucked up other planeswalkers. And it did ult very quickly. The thing that this Koth has in common, besides just like the casting cost, the name, and the starting loyalty, is that it also ults pretty quickly, huh? You uptick it twice, and then you can -7, and you're gonna have some mountains to play immediately. The emblem is a lot more beatable. So the other Koth's emblem, like, you could ping off creatures that were attacking you to buy time and stuff, and you never ran out of damage. They just like murdered the opponent, and they're just like super dead. Whereas this emblem is like, for each mountain, 4 damage. Like it's like you now have like a souped up Valakut in play, right? Extremely beatable. Good! Excellent. You know, it's an emblem, it's like hard to interact with. It's gonna deal a lot of damage over a long game. But very beatable in comparison. So this one's gonna be good and limited. You know, most planeswalkers are gonna be good and limited, right? This one's no exception. But I am, if you couldn't tell, I am not enthused about playing this one in Constructed. Even in a big red deck, it's probably a little piddly. Koth of the Hammer was a mythic. They had to downgrade the stats because it's a rare, not a mythic. Okay. A big red card? Yeah, I guess. Some big red cards are good. They tend to make playable rares. They tend to make constructed playable rares to Warchrome. So no. The difference between mythic and rares is not strictly power level based, right? It's also based on how often they want cards to show up in packs. Yeah, I think this card's bad enough that they could let it get like any kind of mountain, not just basics. I agree with you there. Yeah, that's why Narset's like fucking unplayable, huh, Warchrome? Not powerful enough. Because it's uncommon. Alright, moving on. Kuldotha Cackler, 2 and a red, 2/3. Phyrexian Hyena, Trample. When it attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn. Where X is the number of permanents you control, with oil counters on them. Interesting. I could see this thing hitting for quite a bit. The cool thing about Cackler is that it, like, there's cards coming into play with oil counters that cost less than 3. Like, you can curve oil counters into this thing and get like an actual buff. In limited, just like 1 or 2 things, and all of a sudden you're attacking with a 3/3 or 4/3 trample, which is like a totally fine rate for your aggro deck. You're happy if this is a 3/3? I think you're gonna be happy a lot of the time then. And then in the mid to late game, you can get some actual juicy attacks in. Yeah, I think Cackler's a good rate. Magmatic Sprinter, 2 and a red for a 3/2 uncommon. It does have Trample built in, yeah. If it didn't have Trample built in, I'd be a little bit more down on it for sure. then the pump effect wouldn't really matter that much. Wouldn't matter in as many games. Alright, Magmatic Sprinter, 200 red for a 3/2 uncommon. Haste. Alright, Deece. And its battlefield, put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature you control. Could be itself. At the beginning of your end step, return it to its owner's hand unless you remove 2 oil counters from it. Alright. So you could very intentionally oil up your other cards and just use it as an engine piece to oil them up every turn. Or you can have it come down, attack for 2 turns in a row before getting bounced. Some nice versatility there. I like it when, what was the first creature to have that effect? That, like, Vishnu? Was it Vishnu Sandstalker or something? There's a 3-mana 4/2 that did this that was, like, actually kind of good. Just because creatures sucked back then. Sandstalker, was that it? In its original printing. Beat your opponent with a handful of sorcery speed removal. Anyway, I don't think this one's going to be constructed playable, but I do like that when you have the Sandstalker downside, it's not like a strict downside. There's like a situation where you might want to keep playing this every turn, so you can keep on spreading oil counters around. I think it's a good card. I think it's a good card overall. There's a good chance your 3-mana 3/2 Haster ends up trading with something anyway. So attacking 2 turns with it in limited is already decent. Just want to be aggressive, just want to get in damage. Not a great blocker. Pretty fuck-ass terrible blocker if you have to keep on paying to replay it. Not consistent. Beginning of your end step too. Molten Rebuke, 4 and a red, and sorcery, choose one or both, deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target equipment. Yeah, I mean, it's common removal, right? It doesn't have to be great. The fact that you could get value out of it is kind of nice. It's filler removal. About as fillerish as removal can be. And then if your opponent's playing equipment, it starts to become like a good sideboard card. We were talking a little bit about the Threaten earlier, like potentially leaving it in the board, bringing it in if you do see like a bomb equipment piece. Molten Rebuke might be something reasonable. Slightly better to main deck than the other one. Nahiri's Sacrifice, 1 and a red sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature with mana value X. Nahiri's Sacrifice deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. So it's not a Shrapnel Blast. It's not a Fling. It's a Fling for creatures. It does split it up. There are going to be situations where you get to like kill a bunch of creatures with this. It'd be kind of cool if it hit Planeswalkers too, It sort of reminds me of, God, what was that rare? It's like 2 and a red, where you would discard a card, and then you could split the damage up among like 3 things, I think. I don't know. It's kind of convoluted. I don't know why I'm bringing this up as an example. It is sorcery, yeah. So you have to be sacrificing something kind of chonky or something that you want to sacrifice anyway before this Nahiri's Sacrifice card becomes reasonable. Strictly talking about limited, by the way. I would not play this in any constructed deck or format. Nahiri's Wrath is the callback, yeah. Man, I had the sickest fucking turn with that card once. It was a team-lidded GP, and I had a Nahiri's Wrath, and my opponent was getting close to ultimating a Liliana. They were getting close to ultimating a Planeswalker, and they had this sick other, like, fucking mythic rare creature in play. And I was sitting here with, I was sitting there with, like, a flashback shock or something like that, where the flashback was that you would, like, double a spell. And I got to set up a turn where I Nahiri's Wrath, which let me discard the flashback spell doubler. And then because it was in my graveyard, I could flash it. Because you discard as part of paying the cost on the Wrath, I was able to flash back the spell doubler to then copy the Wrath itself. So it was like, in a way, it was like copying itself. And I managed to like clear all their stuff and come back and win. Just like this completely unbeatable board state. Yeah, I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent. I'll never forget that fucking game, though. That's the thing about Magic, right? You have those moments, those glorious moments that just stick with you for all of time. Geist Blast, yeah, that fucking card. Anyway. Yeah, so Nahiri's Sacrifice should be played very sparingly. But if you have Chonkers, opponent's got a bunch of shit you need to clear. I could see it working out. You got value things to sacrifice. Maybe sack that stupid 4/1 then out of black that draws a card. Kill a bunch of things. Could be a sideboard card, right? Your opponent's going wide, maybe. Or if you have like no other removal. I will say this about Nahiri's Sacrifice. It is going to be pretty bad most of the time, though. Most of the times people cast it, they're not going to be that happy. It gets a little bit better against pacifism effects. If your opponent's playing like the enchantment, pacifism, or the claustrophobia or whatever, it hurts a little bit less to sacrifice a creature that's already been answered. So playing the sacrifice in decks that are like literally doing sacrifice things or boarding it in specific circumstances could be a thing. Don't sleep on it as a sideboard card. Alright, Oxidative Finisher, 5 red. That is a hefty casting cost. Affinity for Equipment. Interesting. That's a 7/5 Trampler. Might be a solid one to put that, the Halberd on, huh? It already has Trample, but giving this thing First Strike. +2/+2 as well, right? No, just First Strike. Yeah, 7 mana for a 7/5 Trampler is like not embarrassing. But if you can play a couple of things, make it cost 5. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's worth. Rebel Salvo, 2 and a red for an instant. Affinity for Equipment. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and that permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. Oh, fun. So this is just a good removal spell. You're just going to play this in like every red deck and pick it very highly. But then the fact that it can also deal with indestructible things is kind of cool. They literally gave every color a way of dealing with that fucking mythic cycle. Red-white Equipment? Yeah, I mean the affinity for Equipment is bonus though. This is a good card, even if you're not that. It's just, like, slightly better. It's still an early pick, even if you have no equipment in your deck. Red Sun's Twilight. X red. Sorcery. Destroy up to X target artifacts. Vex is 5 or more. For each artifact destroyed this way, create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. Interesting. This is probably the weirdest one of these that we've seen. Feels more situational, but more bomby and limited than the black one. Yeah, pull quick wall for life. Commandery. Yeah, you think it's Commander card? Could be sweet in Commander. I think I'm with you. Trying to think if this one shows up in Constructed at all. Oh man, you need to literally have 5 targets to play it for X's 5, right? Oh no, it says up to X target artifacts. Okay, that's important. So you can play it for X. X is 5. Even if you're destroying less than 5 things. That matters, huh? For limited play and stuff. I think you main deck this card in limited, even though you might end up boarding it out in some matchups. It does seem like a main deck shatter format, huh? I don't know if this card puts me into red though. Like if I see this pack 1 pick 1 and there's like some nutty uncommons next to it, I don't know if you necessarily take this over them. It's not like X being 5 wins the game, right? You just get to like attack with some things maybe, potentially. Yeah, I don't know, Mawutad. You might be right. I don't know at all. Against Vermeerding cards, you get to keep the 2/2s? Sure. But you still have to, like, spend a lot of mana. You still have to spend, like, 7 mana to, like, get a couple 2/2s bans with Legends. I don't know. I don't know how good that is. In comparison to like the blue one stealing something and getting a clone of it, or the white one nuking, like sweeping the board and giving you a bunch of leftover value. Anyway, Resistance Skywarden, 5 mana for a 5/5 Menace Reach, 3 red. That card's good, huh? Difficult to chump because of the menace. It's got Surprise Reach. That's a 5 mana 5/5 I do not mind playing. Yeah, getting my deck calm. Nice pair of limited abilities. I think, so even though you're like limited to the number of 5/5s you can play, you can only play so many 5-drops, right? I think you could probably still take this like reasonably aggressively. Like 3rd, 4th maybe? Still hard for me to take it over like a quality removal spell like Rebel Salvo. But it's great. Sawblade Scamp, red. Haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Scamp. Remove an oil counter, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, what a nice little Goblin Rager. I mean, it's not a goblin, but comes down, gets damage in early, gets oil loaded up with oil counters, get some pings in. I think this card's good. I think this card's better than it looks, that's for sure. Proliferate dot format. Yeah, that card's gonna kill some people. I don't know about Constructed. Hard to read that sort of thing for Constructed. Shrapnel Slinger, 1 in a red. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, destroy a target artifact an opponent controls. That's a 2/2. Okay, but it can sack itself. So it could just like literally be a 2 mana Shatter. Or it could be a 2 mana 2/2. Could be your lover or your enemy there. I think there's enough versatility on that. You can main deck it. Shrapnel Slinger. You're not drafting it super aggressively. But not bad. Not bad at all. Might end up in the sideboard sometimes. But then it's like a totally fine sideboard card. We got another slow bad. 2 in a red. Legend, 3/3. Tap, sack an artifact. Add an amount of red equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. This card sucks, right? I'm not like underthinking it. Slow and bad. Yeah, I'm hitting both of them. Needs haste or something. Does it need haste? You don't really want to sacrifice things with haste, right? I don't know if you want to sacrifice many things for mana anyway. It's a 3/3 for 3? Sure, yeah. I mean, sometimes you want a 3/3 for 3. Not exactly a constructed cost, though. Like, you're taking the fucking uncommon with Menace over it. Alright, Sulfim, Mayhem Dominus. 2 red for a 5/4. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, deals double that damage instead. And then 1 Phyrexian red. Just so you can either pay like 1 and 4 life or 3 mana. Discard 2 cards, put an indestructible counter on Sulfim. Interesting. Pretty easy to threaten the indestructible on this card. To only give it indestructible when it matters. You think this card is busted? Sulfim? Why? You want to play with Crackle with Power? That was that X card, right? Yeah, the non-combat part matters a lot. Yeah, that 5 times X damage. You think this Sulfim is the worst one? It might be. I haven't seen them all yet. But the ability seems worse than the... I don't remember the blue one. Oh no, the blue one was hot. The blue one had flying, right? And like doubled your proliferates. And the black one was the easiest to give indestructible. It felt like. And constructed. Maybe not limited. You certainly didn't have to spend multiple cards on it. No Tobran? Yeah, certainly no Tobran. I'm with you there. You think slow bad is interesting with affinity? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you. I think it might just be bad. I don't know if you're talking about like EDH stuff. That's like harder for me to evaluate. But I don't think it's showing up in constructed anywhere, Thrill of Possibility. Nice reprint. Always good to see this one. Cool art too. Yeah, right, iPod? I'm with you there. That was Emrakul casted mana. Urbrask's Anointer, 3 and a red for a 4/2. Phyrexian Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, it does X damage to any target where X is the number of permanents you control with oil counters on them. Okay, okay. We got an FTK here. I think there's enough oil going around that this card is just good, Worse than FTK, but like, cards can be pretty good and still be worse than FTK. I think you can take this one pretty early. Do the oil aggro thing. Curve out with it. Hit its face. Oh, that is relevant. Yeah, any target. You're probably not doing like a shitload of damage to someone's face with it, but it is relevant. Could matter. Yeah, pretty easy to get it to 2 or 3, right? Which is good enough, yeah. You think oil might be a thing in constructed? Maybe. Maybe. The fact that there's like some playable-ish looking early drops for it makes it like vaguely exciting. Probably not there, but maybe. Urbrask's Forge, 2 and a red artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on Urbrask's Forge, then create an X1 red Phyrexian Horror Trample and Haste, where X is the number of oil counters on the forge. Second at the beginning of the next end step. Is this card nutty? It takes some time. It takes some time to ramp up. You do get an oil counter on the first turn. Assuming you remember to play it pre-combat. And then you get a 1/1. And then turn 2, it's going to be a 2/1. Yeah, I think this card's too slow. Unfortunately. Maybe it's faster in a proliferate format. Maybe it's faster than I'm giving it credit for. If you can play a creature or something that has proliferate stapled to it, might be good enough. You think it's solid with that 1-drop? Do you? Does it? I think that 1-drop's is a piece of shit. You get a goblin. You like it because this is just giving it an oil counter every turn. I'm doing like nothing a lot of the time. Just helping it ramp. Yeah, I'd rather pair it with cards that are like good. If I could, when that's a possible thing. The trample helps. Yeah, I mean, well, it wouldn't be remotely worth specking on if there was no like trample or something, or if you weren't making like multiple to go wide or something. Yeah, I mean, I'd play this in limited, especially if I had like proliferate stuff to juice it up a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was too slow. Or if it just like did nothing for a few turns and then got shattered or what have you. Your opponent does have a lot of time to answer it. You think you could see standard play? I would be surprised, but again, I haven't been following standard that closely. It seems a bit slow for standard. F4 oil, it's starting to be good. Yeah, I mean, you can play a lot of creatures that do stuff before you need like 4 turns to juice it up or whatever, though, right? You like it with Anvil? Doesn't Anvil need to have artifacts? It's not an artifact. The 3-mana 3/2 haste. Can I go on any permanent, not just creatures? Yeah, it is target artifact or creature. Almost interesting.
Oh shit, what up?
Oh shit, what up? Hey, delete the radio. Thinks the sob thinks of 7 months. Yeah, I would lean towards this card not being good, without having played with it, right? Open to being wrong, but doesn't excite me. Vindictive Flame Stoker, red for a 1/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on this Flame Stoker. It's a rare, huh? What's this last ability? 6 and a red. Sack it. Discard your hand, then draw 4 cards. Costs 1 less for each oil counter on the Flame Stoker. Okay. So this is doing like... What was that 1-mana 1/1 artifact? So like attacks every turn. Yeah, Bowman Courier. Almost doing a Bowman Courier type thing. It's a lot more expensive though, huh? I know a lot of people in my chat just said that they liked this card. But but that's not gonna sway me. I think this card fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah. I do like drawing cards though. Yeah, I guess I just need my 1 mana 1/2s to do a little bit more. You take it in limited? Yeah, I don't even know if I like it in limited. I think it's closer to the other 1 mana 1/Xs that we've looked at than it is like other rares and stuff. You know what I mean? What mana cost is this at good? In limited or constructed? In constructed, I think 2 or 3. Then the sacrifice is good, which is a lot, right? That's a lot of spells to get it down to that. You think it's good in modern burn? No way. I'm just gonna straight up say that's not true. A lot of times I'm like, well, I could be wrong. I'm not. It's not good in modern burn. We will agree to disagree. Blue-Red Phoenix? Nah. Nope. You could have played like a couple spells and killed someone with a thing in the ice by the time this thing does anything. Kind of just a piece of shit. And it's super vulnerable if it ever is like starting to maybe matter. The fail rate on Bomat Courier is such a higher floor, right? It's a 1 with haste, so you're like already getting in damage with it. It's an artifact, so it's turning on artifact things. And then it's good off the top. This card is dog shit off the top. Because you don't have any oil counters on it, so you're just like, here's my 1/2. Do I have 7 mana floating around? I do not. Well, damn. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just bad, I'm sorry. It's no Bedlam Reveler, it's no Bedlam Reveler. I don't think it's even a Bedlam Reveler if you get to play it on turn 1. 6 is so many. That's so much. You get to draw 4 cards? You do. Drawing 4 cards is sweet. Needed prowess? Yeah. Prowess you can forgive a lot, right? If it's like a reasonable card in and of itself. Prowess, you got yourself a modern playable card. You're already playing just like 1 mana 1/2 prowess in modern. That other rare. With that one, like you every once in a while you actually shrink things with its abilities, but it's kind of like a side thing, right? You're mostly just playing it as a 1 mana 1/2 prowess. Yeah, I think this card would be actively good then. An uncommon cycle card? Yeah, something like that. I think it's probably closer to filler than you expect in limited. Maybe if you're like very aggressive. We're doing oil stuff, right? Like if you just need to load up oil. Like if you're already playing Sawblade Scamp. Load it up with oil to pump your Trampler. But that's not like some bomb rare in that case, right? It's kind of just a thing. Like I'm comparing it to the common here. The common oil generator. Draw 4 cards, better than Ancestral? Oh man, who knew Tidings was better than Ancestral? If it was an 0/1 with prowess, then it would suck, yeah, it'd be pretty bad. Your 1-drop being a decent top deck is okay? Yeah, but it's not that, Petro. Your 1-drop is a 1 mana 1/2 that has a 7 mana activated ability. So for that to be a decent top deck, you need to be in quite the situation, right? to have 7 mana to activate it. It's a late game limited thing. What's a good comparison? We had that 3 mana 2/3 recently that you could dump a bunch of mana into it and draw 2 cards, right? You remember how that card was like distinctly medium? And this is a rare and a 1/2 instead of a 2/3. Is this kind of giving you the context you need? Worse Bullmet Courier? Much worse, yeah. Alright. Let's move along, huh? Volt Charge is a hot one. That's a fun reprint. Kind of perfect for a Proliferate set. Yeah, if I'm underestimating Flame Stoker, it might be just that I'm underestimating how easy it is to get to Proliferate, or how good it is to have cards that are just loading up on oil. But the, again, the fucking... We have a common that does that. Loads up on oil pretty quickly. Yeah, Volt Charge is sweet. You can take it early, take it often. Go in face is sweet, Proliferate is sweet. You admit that you take Volt Charge over the rare? Right. Yeah, not saying you should never play Flame Stoker ever. I'm trying to give you the context for where you might play it. And I don't think you should be taking it that early. Is it more or less playable in Burn than Flame Stoker? Like in modern Burn? I think now you're getting into a good comparison. And I don't know. I think that's actually close. Alright, Bullshock Splitter, 3 and a red, artifact equipment from Mirrodin! Comes to play with a 2/2. Creature gets +2/+0. So you got a 4 mana 4/2. And then you can equip for 2 and a red. Move that fucking axe over. Yeah, it seems fine, huh? Most of the Mirrodin stuff seems kind of fine. A 4/2 is like gonna kill people faster than you'd think. You don't care that much that it trades off, so you can put it on some other shitter. Red's got some nice trample to move the power buff onto. Not an early pick. I mean, fucking 4 mana. You can only put so many 4-drops in your deck, right? And then, of course, Red's got some Equipment Matters cards. It's going to get a little bit better with those. Yep. All right. It's almost 1 o'clock. How many people do we have here? I'm getting a little hungry.